Oh
my God.
hello, guys, and welcome to the Health and Harmony podcast. As you can hear, Zoom has a new function that screams, "This video is being recorded."
Yeah, I'm like, I don't even know if people will be able to hear that, but let me just tell you, I nearly birthed my child.
So a lot has been happening behind the scenes at the Health and Harmony goals and in our personal lives too. I don't know if you guys saw, but our beautiful bee just tied the knot.
Yay, finally. I feel like my wedding's been postponed about 47 times thanks to COVID.
Yeah.
But I'm finally a missus, so I'm super excited.
Happiness.
Between moving house and like getting married, and Rox has also had so much going on with her business. Like, I think we've both just been up to our bloody ears.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a nice, fresh podcast. And also, I think it's going to help in speaking about this topic, because I was saying to Rox earlier today that this is a feeling I've been feeling over the last like couple of weeks with all the stress that's been going on. So if it's going to help me out, I feel like it will help you guys out too.
100%. And that's our aim, is to help you guys with whatever you might be struggling with or just need help and advice on. So today our topic is dun, dun, dun,
3, 2, 1.
Overwhelm. How to deal with overwhelm. I think it's something that, especially with me now going full force into my life coaching career, seeing how a lot of people struggle to deal with overwhelm or create overwhelm when it's not necessarily something that needs, not that it needs to be, but something that is necessarily there. It's just a mindset over things. So we thought we'd talk about how to deal with overwhelm, our 7-step
Process.
I'm like, it is Monday, so we might have.
I was also thinking about what day it was. I was like, it's Brain Fart Monday. That's a thing in our lives.
Yeah. Okay. So the first thing, obviously, when dealing with overwhelm, here we go. It's getting better and better as we go, is to just push pause. I think a lot of us tend to rile ourselves up and like create this huge amount of anxiety around things that need to be done and our huge to-do lists and the big goals that we've set for ourselves, when all you really need to do is push pause, take a step back, take a breath, maybe go for a walk outside, make yourself a cup of coffee, have a hot bath, meditate, whatever works for you, and then just come back and look at everything that you have on your to-do list or this goal that you have or whatever it may be, and try to gain more clarity on maybe the steps you need to take to get there, or a better perspective on what you actually need to do in order to check everything off your list or achieve that goal. Because we all tend to get so caught up in, I have to do this, then I have to do this, and there's so many things to do, and how am I going to do all of them? And we like freak ourselves out, when at the end of the day, it's not that hectic. Like, it's all great achievements are achieved through smaller steps.
Completely.
Yeah.
I feel like also with regard to pushing pause, like with the feeling of overwhelm, you start to think about, and it's natural as a human being. I mean, I am referring to this just because I did this myself like the last 2 weeks, where I got so overwhelmed because you think about all the stuff that you have on your to-do list or the stuff that you need to get done. And the more you're thinking about all the stuff that you have to get done, the more stuff that's popping into your head that needs to be added to your list. And you're like, oh my gosh, I've forgotten about this. I've forgotten about this. I need to add this to my list. I need to add this to my list. And then you just become completely overwhelmed that you don't get anything done because everything is just like so overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're talking about. So like Rox is saying, to just pause and take a step back is going to allow you the room to be able to be like, right, where to from here? What can I start with? Like, and that brings us to our next point. I was going to go straight into that. I was like, number 2 is to prioritize. So that's what I was saying now about sitting back and going, okay, like what's super important? What needs to be done at what point? Or do we have deadlines about any of these topics that I have to do? Like, for instance, I mean, you may have something that's due for work, but it's due on a certain day. That's a deadline. Of course, we all know what a deadline is. That can put you under a lot of pressure because you know that something is due that day. I moved house last week, Friday. There was no way in moving the date of moving a house. So that is the set date. But you may have tasks that are things that you need to get done within the next month or within the next 2 months or a 6-month plan, whatever the situation is. there's stuff that you can space out and prioritize. So you start to list down what's most important, what's least important, and try to work it from there.
I love that. I think also when you get so caught up in the extreme list of things you need to get done, creating this extreme sense of overwhelm, prioritizing is such an important thing to do, because we land up just adding things to our list because it comes up in our head and it's not really stuff that's that important or that pivotal to this moment in time or this goal that we have ahead of us or whatever it may be. So prioritizing is really just a good way to put the most important task at the top. And I think also when you get the most important tasks done, you start to feel a bigger sense of relief, because now it's just the side little things that you need to get done. I mean, one of the things that I always tell people is to, like, every day when you wake up, put your like most important tasks as your first things to do, especially the ones that you like almost feel like you want to put off because you don't feel like doing them until the end of the day. Because once you get that done, the rest of the day seems so more chilled. Like you've already done the worst part of your day. You've already overcome the biggest obstacle of your day. So yeah, I think prioritizing is such an important thing, especially when you are dealing with feeling super overwhelmed.
I like that you mentioned that, because I feel like when you do, you feel that sense of like accomplishment when you get a task done. And Rox and I have been avid people to say, like, write things down since like probably our first episode. But if you're writing a list of things down and you physically get to tick them off and actually see with your naked eye, I mean, like we always say, whether it's on your notepad on your phone or you've got a list with stuff that's written in pen, to just actually physically tick those things off allows you to feel so much more accomplished, and you can start going, right, one down, however many to go, and it just becomes easier and easier to get through the day. But like Rox is saying, sometimes if you leave all the biggest tasks or the stuff that's the most daunting to you till the end, it's still going to be just as daunting and just as intimidating to tackle those tasks, because you know it's coming. And you kind of have to preempt the fact that, yes, I've maybe done 4 out of 5 tasks, but number 5 is the one that's killing me the most. Yeah. So I love that you say that. Like, and get number 5 done first.
Yeah. And you've used all your energy on the smaller tasks. So when it comes to doing that big overwhelming thing, you're feeling drained already. You're not feeling like energetic, motivated, ready to take it on. So getting it done first just makes so much sense.
Completely. I agree with you.
Okay. Number 3 is to do a brain dump. And this goes back to us saying, write everything down, because I think a lot of people tend to keep the list of things they need to do in their head, and that just creates even more overwhelm, because unless your brain sees something written on paper, it doesn't make complete sense of it, and it can't categorize and like sort it out and like compartmentalize into things. Yeah, my vocab is on fire today, guys. So by writing, and then I just ruined it. By writing a brain dump, you put all your ideas on a piece of paper, and your brain can actually start to see, okay, this is all the things that I want to accomplish. These are all the things I need to get done. Now you can start to group them into categories. These are my career goals. These are my relationship goals. These are my fun and recreation goals, whatever they are. And because now your brain can make more sense of them, you start to get more ideas that you can add to this brain dump, and think of processes and ways that you can achieve certain things. So brain dumps just help your brain to make sense of everything that's going on in your brain.
I like to always not compare, but relate brain dumps to how they used to teach you to study at school with mind maps, because I feel like sometimes, even if you're taking notes or whatever it is, you might have headings and beautiful writing and different colors, but just having a mind map is so much easier for your brain to just look at and capture and be like, right, this goes there, this goes there, this goes there. And a mind map is kind of like a brain dump in a sense, where you can categorize different things into different sorts of areas on the page, and it becomes easy to memorize. And no one's saying go and do a brain dump and please memorize your entire brain dump. That's what the brain dump piece of paper is for you to refer back to. But it just becomes so much easier to, like Rox says, compartmentalize everything when it's on a mind map or a brain dump. And then it's written there, and you can be like, okay, I need to do this. Let me just take a look at this, instead of trying to make that mind map in your head. That's when things start to like overlap and become overwhelming.
And I think it also relieves stress, because how many times do you like think of a huge to-do list in your head, and you forget half of it.
Mhm.
And then it comes to the end of the day and you're like, oh shit,
I was
I
gonna
forgot
say, you're lying in
I need
bed
to
and you're
do
like,
this. Yeah.
shit.
I completely forgot the most important thing I needed to do today. So
Mhm.
by writing it down, it just helps you to remember it as well.
Mhm. I'm like, I know this is such a stupid example, but with everything going on, like I didn't write everything down. I had to get spray tan for the wedding, and I was lying in bed the night before my spray tan, and I was like, shit, I haven't shaved my legs. And I was like, you have to shave the day before, guys. You cannot get a wax or a shave like on the day. And I know that seems so small, but it's like something that I know off the top of my head, but I just forgot because I was overwhelmed by everything going on. If I had written it down, I would have probably done it first thing in the morning, but I didn't. And it literally popped into my head at night. So do a brain dump. It will help you remember to shave for your spray tan. Okay, number 4. Number 4 is to relinquish control. So there are 3 points that go underneath relinquishing control, and that would be to delegate, delete, and delay.
I think with especially like running my own business and building it up to where I want it to be, this is something that's been a huge lesson for me because I'm a complete control freak.
Me too.
And for most of my life, I'm almost 33 years old. I've found it impossible to like believe that other people can help me in my business. Like I need to do my social media, I need to do my emails, I need to do all my like Facebook groups and my graphic design and my logos and like literally everything. And I've gotten to a point where I'm like, I'm never going to be able to grow and be successful if I can't start to relinquish control of the things that maybe I'm not so good at, or maybe I don't enjoy. So this is such an important point because I think we all take on way too much, especially in this rat race world that we live in now. So the 3 points, delegate, delete, and delay, are going to change your life. So number 1, delegate, is if you do not enjoy it or you're not good at it and someone else can do it for you, just fucking let them.
100%. 100%.
Delete is obviously now, like I was saying, we put so much on our plate. Start to look at the things that really actually don't make a big difference in the grander scheme of things. If you don't paint the wall on your outside of your house today or next week or next month, the world's not going to end. So if that's something that is putting a lot of stress on your mind, but it doesn't really make a difference in the great scheme of things, delete it. Get to it another time. And then delay is obviously similar to delete, but if you have tasks that really will not make a difference if you complete them today or next month, put them on the lower end of your list of things to do, because you're going to just overwhelm yourself with a million things that do not need to get done at this very moment in time.
Completely agree. I love it's the triple D's.
The triple D's.
The triple D's. I must say, I really do struggle with delegation. And I feel like you say, I mean, take it, for example, social media, right? A lot of people that are in our relative industries, which are both very different industries, but both still rely on social media for a lot of work. Social media can be very overwhelming, I think, just in the grand scheme of things in general. I mean, whether it's personal or for business, social media is an overwhelming thing. And if it's something that doesn't bring you joy to create stuff for your business or for yourself, there's no one saying, oh my gosh, that's less of a person because she doesn't create her own posts, or that's less of a person because she's got an agency that posts for her on her behalf. Like, that is a smart person because they have more time in their day to do the tasks that they do enjoy and that they do well. And that's the reason we have social media agencies now. The reason we have all these people that are able to manage your social media or are able to do whatever it is for you. It just makes it so much easier. I mean, if you're at work and you've got someone that works underneath you that's able to maybe help you with some of the mails that you're going through in the day that are really difficult, or you just aren't able to get to everything in the day, use those people, use the people around you. I think a lot of us, like you say, in this rat race world, think that delegation or asking for help is a sign of weakness, where it's not. It's really not. And I think a lot of us need to change our mindsets with regard to that. So
100%.
I love
and
that.
I was listening to a podcast the other day where they were talking about how I don't know, obviously most of you guys will know Oprah's favorite things or Christmas list, where she used to give everyone in the audience one of everything.
You get it, and you get it,
and everybody gets a free whatever. So, and they were saying so many companies that she recommended on these shows actually went under because, first of all, they didn't have the business structure and infrastructure to handle the growth that they have, but they also weren't delegating all these important business tasks like your accounting, like your stock management, like your marketing and your whatever graphic design, that they actually could not keep up with the growth. So, I mean, if that's not a reason enough to delegate, then I don't know what is.
Yeah, 100%. You can still be announced on Oprah's show and go under because you are being silly about your delegation.
Yes. Okay. Number 5 is to set boundaries. And this basically boils down to, I think a lot of people, and this might trigger you, so get ready, girl. But a lot of us always say, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time. But the reality of you not having enough time most of the time is because you don't have boundaries to say no to things that aren't on your priority list. So fetching your friends' kids from school, or helping your sister with an art project, or, I mean, these are all fun things that you could really enjoy. But if you have more pertinent tasks or goals that you want to achieve, like time management and saying no to things that really don't contribute to you achieving whatever you want to achieve, becomes such an important role in your mind. So yeah, that's it, boundaries.
Yeah, I'm like, guys, also we do have an episode on boundaries, which we've told you probably in like 40 million episodes. But if you want to listen to just how to set boundaries and you feel like it's difficult for you to be able to set boundaries in your life, we have a completely separate episode on that. So do take a listen, because we do know that setting boundaries can be a lot more difficult than just speaking about it. I mean, it's easy for us to sit and speak about setting boundaries with you guys because it's something that we're able to do in our lives now, but something that you constantly have to work on. I don't feel like you're always able to set boundaries, and there may be times where you're not having boundaries in place with certain situations or people, and it takes you a little bit of a while to realize, but once you realize, you're able to set those boundaries into place. So if you do struggle to set boundaries, please have a little listen to that episode. And with regard to overwhelm, like Rox was saying, I think setting boundaries is key. One of the key, I mean, I would put it probably close to like number 1 in priority if we were listing this in priority. But setting boundaries, it just, I mean, reduces your anxiety. It will reduce the overwhelm. It will reduce a lot of things in your life. So yeah, like Rox said, set boundaries. It's super important.
I'll try. I will link that episode in the show notes. That is something I need to work on.
I will do it.
But I will do it. Okay, the next thing is to reduce or eliminate distractions. I mean, this is a pretty obvious one. I think a lot of us, especially with our phones and our, even just working on your laptop, you've got emails coming through, your notifications coming up, and calendar things going off. There's so much distraction going on around us, even sitting in your office. I mean, one of my friends used my office the other day when he came to my house and for a Zoom meeting. And when he came out, he's like, Rox, you have a very visually stimulating office. He's like, I was so distracted. He's like reading this, looking at this, looking at this. I was like, I obviously have not an inch of ADD in me.
Yeah.
But it was so funny because even like the areas that you work in can have so many distractions. And that's why I think it's so important to like clear your space, whether it's your mind by doing your brain dumps and all of that, or the space that you actually work in. Because when you work in a place that is cluttered and full of distractions, your mind's going to be cluttered and full of distractions. So reducing and eliminate distractions in terms of your actual physical space and surroundings, but then also in terms of how you tend to distract yourself, which is obviously scrolling mindlessly through Instagram and
completely,
I don't know, whatever else, playing games if that's your vibe, watching
YouTube
too much
videos.
TV, you know, all of those things that the next thing you know, you've been doing it for 3 hours and you could have already finished your whole to-do list.
I love that you bring up the your office space, because I know that was one thing that my parents like really drilled into my head when we were growing up, and it came time to like study for exams or for a test. My parents always used to say like, the state of your desk is the state of your mind. And you can have things that you feel like, for instance, what I used to do when I was at school, like I had study notes or files or papers or whatever, and I put it in like a really neat pile in the corner of my desk because I thought it like looked neater instead of just like sorting through the things and filing them away. So you like have this false sense of like everything is neat and it looks okay, but it is still clutter at the end of the day. So whatever's going to distract you, like Rox is saying, or cause you to be more distracted, put it away. Like, I mean, you might be also putting it off because you're like, I have so much studying to do that I can't clean my desk because I'm going to run out of study time. If you clean that like little area on your desk, it's probably going to take you like 15 minutes in the grand scheme of things. And you're going to be able to get so much more studying done after that than trying to study and like staring at whatever it is on your desk every like few seconds. So just reduce. I was going to say reduce, reuse, recycle. Reduce the distractions on your desk or in your workplace or whatever it is.
And I mean, there's so many apps, and like even your iPhone now, you can set times where you're allowed to use your phone. You can set limits for certain apps on your phone. So if you are really struggling to stop scrolling to Instagram or checking your Facebook or whatever it may be, go like install an app, or if you have an iPhone, use that setting, because it's an amazing way to force you to stop being distracted and also train you to stop being distracted, because obviously everything practice makes perfect.
And that's what these apps are actually all built to do. They want to monetize off of us. What is that?
What was it? There was a documentary on
Netflix. The social dilemma or something. Watch that and you'll be mind blown if you haven't already. But the whole point of all of these apps and sending notifications and asking you for your permission to allow to send notifications is so that you pick up your phone and you access that app, and that app is making money from you being there. So like Rox is saying, use those tools. I, for instance, on my iPhone, put my phone onto sleep mode. You literally scroll up or scroll down, whatever your phone is, to get to like the volume and your Bluetooth and whatever. And it's the little moon. You put it on do not disturb, and you get no notifications. If someone calls you, you're not going to get disturbed. If you're getting notifications on your phone, your screen isn't lighting up. But it's really great because if someone's desperately trying to get a hold of you, if they phone twice in a row or 3 times, I don't know what the number is, the phone call will come through. So if it's an emergency, like you'll still get whatever you need. But that's a really nice way. Because I mean, even for me, it's not even that I want to pick up my phone and go through Instagram, but like you get a notification and you're like, okay, cool, pick up your phone. Let me just check it. Otherwise you look at it and you're like, I don't need that notification, but it's like imprinted in your mind now. And it's like a little buzzing bee, and it's like, zzz,
it is, it's crazy.
Until you pick up your phone. So use those applications.
And then the last step is just to be conscious. And I mean, this can cover so many topics, but I think just being conscious of your mindset. If you are putting too much on your plate, if you do need to set boundaries, I mean, this is going to go back to all the points. I mean, if you haven't put down pen to paper and figured out what exactly your goals are, made sense, and the steps that you need to take, just be conscious of how you're spending your time, how you're allowing your mind to control you, because that's basically what your mind does, and how you're allowing your mind to run off on these tangents to get yourself into this huge state of overwhelm. And I think just also being conscious of taking time to rest, taking time for yourself, because like we said, this rat race, we're not taught that we are allowed to take a break. We're allowed to rest. We're allowed to have days where we just like listen to our bodies, listen to the energies, and just fucking relax.
Literally. I think also just being conscious of the fact that, like when we speak about delegating and deleting and all of those points, we are in this ridiculous society where people are like almost boastful about how busy they are and about how they don't have 2 seconds to rest. And, I mean, we've heard this on a million podcasts before, but I think even Jay Shetty, we read about it in his book, but people are boastful of the fact that they only had 2 hours of sleep last night, or the fact that they didn't sleep at all and they're running on 7 days pure caffeine. Like, it's not, it might seem to you that people are going to treat you better or be more respectful of you because you are so busy all the time. But at the end of the day, everything you're doing is not for other people, it's for yourself. So if you're conscious about the fact that you need rest, you need all of these things, you will be more successful in the end, because you won't burn out. You'll have a longer period of time where you're able to work, as in like months or weeks or years, instead of like doing everything in 7 days, getting it done, and then you are just like completely burnt out afterwards for the next 2 weeks. So consciousness is super important.
And I think it really will like assist in mental health and mental well-being, because like you said, people look for that external validation, and we've been taught that we must do and like get shit done, like it's such a masculine thing. But if you really do just take a step back and allow yourself to take a break or do things the way you want to do them, like change your definition of what success is, of what purpose is, and just live your life for you, you really are just going to start living a more happier and fulfilling life.
Agreed. Yeah. I love that. I was like, that's a beautiful end note.
And that is it. And then also before we go, but firstly, thank you guys for listening to us.
As always.
We have been alluding to a confidence journey challenge vibe.
Yes.
That we will be commencing soon. We just need to set on a date, but hopefully in the next week or so.
Yes.
If you guys want to join, all you need to do is go follow us on Instagram at Health and Harmony Goals and click the link in our bio. Register to our mailing list and you'll get all the information you need when that thing kicks off.
Yes.
That program, that challenge.
And like we always say, if you're listening to this podcast at a completely different time, that's way like in the future, we will probably have everything saved to our highlights reels on Instagram. So you will still be able to access everything no matter what time you are listening to this.
But thanks guys so much for listening to us again. We hope you got some value. If you did, screenshot, share, tag. We love to see your feedback.
Yes. And if there's any other feeling that you're feeling that's like, I mean, this was just about the feeling of overwhelm. If there's any other feeling that you're feeling that you'd like us to dissect for you and divulge and give you some delicious ways to get through it, like please DM us or email or whatever your preferred form of communication is.
100%.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys. We'll catch you in the next episode.
Toodaloo.
Bye.